And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. This episode, this live stream, is going to be one of the most enlightening that you've had in a very long time. I've taken time to prepare this one so that it is simple, it is easy to understand, and anyone can apply it. Okay? We're looking at doing what needs to get done. We have issues in our lives from the fact that we know what we need to do, but we do not do it. Okay? When you first start out, you need to have a goal. You need to know where you are going. If I wake you up in the middle of the night and I shake you and I ask you, what's your goal? Are you able to answer in a small millisecond? I know exactly what I want. This is it. Because if you don't know what it is, and if it doesn't fill your mind on a continual, constant basis, you're probably not going to get it. Do you understand how many people have goals that never ever get achieved? And it is simply because they do not do what needs to get done. It has everything to do with masculinity and femininity, the base philosophy that we have on this and the Women of High Value channel. If you understand masculinity and femininity, you will understand the world, but most importantly, you'll understand yourself. And that is the beginning point of anything. You have a goal. Let's say you have a goal. It's the starting point. The goal is the what. What do I want? Because if you don't know what your goal is, then doesn't matter what you do, does it? All of us, it's interesting though, all of us desire to be happy. All of us desire to succeed at something, but most importantly, to succeed at life and to succeed at happiness. That's really the ultimate goal. What we're chasing, no matter what it is that we're chasing, no matter which goal it is, our ultimate goal is happiness. Okay? So the question is, do you have the ability to do, the power to gain consistency in happiness? That's the question. In order to get there, we need to know where we're going, we need to know what we want, and then we get to the next step. Once you know your goal, the next step is the strategy, the plan on how to achieve that end, how to achieve the goal that you've set out to accomplish. You need to have a strategy and a plan. But guess what? Like the Slight Edge book Jeff Olson has written, he says in there that you have to start with the plan. But the plan that you start with will not be the plan that gets you there, that gets you to your final destination, that gives you that goal, achievement that you desire. But you got to start with the plan. You got to start with it no matter how horrible it is. If you follow in the footsteps of someone who's already done what you want to do and who actually have the things that you desire, then you have a proven plan. If they tell you what they did, then you simply just have to do it, right? The majority of the time these days that we live in, there's tons of people who have what we desire, at least from a financial standpoint, at least from a health standpoint. From a relationship standpoint, that's very interesting because it's very inconsistent in most people's lives. That's what we're experts at on this and the Women of High Value channel. So you got to make sure you subscribe and like, because we've got that, which is the most important aspect in terms of achieving happiness. But if you believe that financials is crucial for you to obtain ultimate joy, bliss, and happiness, you got to follow a proven plan to achieve that goal. The strategy and the plan is the how-to. So if you already know a proven plan, fantastic. Then the only thing necessary, the only thing that's left is doing what you know needs to get done. That's the hard part. That's the tricky part. Okay. If you don't know the how to, you still have to start out with the strategy and a plan, but then you have to go through more rejection and more failure than if you did have a proven plan. Very often people want to reinvent the wheel, even though they have a proven plan. That's ridiculous. But if you don't have a proven plan, then you gotta fail, and you gotta try again, and fail, and try again. It's just gonna take a longer time. And that's okay. Because eventually you're gonna get there if you never ever give up. Quitters never win, winners never quit. We've got goal. We've got a strategy. And number 2, we need execution. We need you to take action, to do what it is that needs to get done, whether you feel like it or not. We have a problem. And that problem is we're all feminine. Our goal, in my opinion, our ultimate goal and what will actually give us happiness as men is to become masculine, to become men of truth, to become men of power. Power, the ability to do. What's more masculine than the ability to do? Than to have power. Okay? Obviously, you'd use it for good though, right? Because you have the understanding and the wisdom to know that the more you do good, the more good comes back to you. And that's what we want. We want happiness. You can't get happiness if good things don't happen to you, right? It's the execution. Femininity is in the way. This is where we all start out. All of us, boys and girls, we all start out as feminine, powerless creatures that hopefully are in a carefree situation where our parents provide for us in terms of what we need, the food, the clothing, the housing, etc. Very often we do get neglected, we get sent off to school, and parents hope for the best. But in general, we are able to not have to worry about adult stuff before we enter into our teenage years and then become adults of our own. If you've been massively burdened and caused a lot of difficulties and trauma and rejection as a child, including neglect, then you're going to remain in your femininity. A lot of us do these days. It's a problem. Because the more feminine we are, the more intense emotions we have. Nothing wrong with intense emotions if we're able to control them, if we're able to navigate them and funnel them towards our desired ends. But if you have emotions that you can't control, then we've got a problem. Because then you're going to do things that you're not supposed to do, and you're not going to do the things that you are supposed to do. The only thing standing in the way of you achieving your dreams and goals and following your strategy and plan that you set out to do, if you've made one of those, the only thing standing in the way is femininity. Those intense emotions. What do? How do we solve that problem? Well, first of all, let's understand the definition of masculinity. Masculinity, according to our definition, is the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, despite circumstance, despite environment. Okay, so you have thoughts, you have emotions, you have behaviors. Are you able to control them according to what you desire at any given time inside here? If you're not able to control your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, you're still a child and you're still feminine. That's okay. All of us are on a different part of our journey, right? But the more you progress throughout life, hopefully you're moving towards being more able to control your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. It definitely is a journey though. And for some it is harder than others. But that's okay. We all start out differently, and you're not comparing yourself to anyone else. You are on your journey. You focus on you and getting better and improving you. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. But you can't control your thoughts. I have to compare. All right? But that's okay. Eventually, you won't care about what the competition is doing. You'll be funnel focused. Only thinking about becoming a better you and improving yourself. Okay. Another aspect, definition of masculinity is the ability to focus, the ability to prioritize. Because very often our emotions, our thoughts, they're scattered because there's so many different things happening all of the time. And I've got this happening, and I've got this happening, and this person is talking to me, and then that person, and then I got rejected here, etc., etc. And then I've got this project and that project, etc., etc. You see how everything around you is designed basically to distract you from your goal. All distractions are equal. But your goal is to control your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. But if you're being tossed to and fro in every direction, you're being feminine. It is basically your environment. You see, femininity, they're environmental creatures. It's all about environment. Environment dictates femininity's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors because they're natural followers. Femininity follows. What else are you gonna do as a toddler? Your parents are there. Obviously, they got more experience. You don't know squat as a child, so you followed their advice for a while. Unless, you hate them, which is possible, then you do the opposite of what they're trying to tell you to do, right? But if you trust them and they love you and you love them, then you'll try to follow naturally, right? So you're environmental. The more feminine you are, the more environmental you are. Meaning, what you do depends completely upon what's happening around you right there and then. It depends completely upon the emotions that you're feeling at any given time. Do you see how this goes completely opposite to the aspect of doing what needs to get done despite how you feel? Femininity is the only thing standing between you and what you want. The more feminine you are, the more intense your emotions are going to be, the less you're going to be able to control your thoughts, and as a result, the less you're going to be able to control your behavior, the execution, the actual doing of what needs to get done. You're going to be diversified. You're not going to be focused. You're going to be distracted by your environment. So how do we solve this problem? Well, eventually, you want to come to a point where you're no longer feminine, meaning no longer dependent upon your environment. You've become independent of your environment. You've become free from your environment, where you're able to choose your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors despite the environment and the circumstances and the conditions that are there. Because you know that you're able to do what needs to get done no matter what. That's what you want to get to. Your environment says this, you don't care. Because you're a masculine man and you can make a decision that the environment will change. The environment is dependent upon me as a leader. I change the environment. I produce the environment. I create the environment. Okay? This is powerful stuff. If you know how to change the environment, you are now leading everyone else who is feminine. They're naturally going to follow someone who can control their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors because they control the environment. That's the end goal. That's the end picture. That's the time when you're going to get everything in life that you desire. There is nothing that can stop you at the moment in time when you can control your thoughts. Nothing. can stop you at that moment in time. You're far away from that, okay? Me too. We're all on our journey towards excellence in controlling our thoughts. Because the moment you can control your thoughts, you understand that you can control the level of happiness that you have. Your level of happiness can be exponential. Life is not a bitch and then you die. If you understand emotions, if you understand masculinity and femininity, if you understand power, if you understand these things that I'm talking to you about right now, you can get fired up outside your brain every day, all of the time. Okay? Despite circumstance. I love this stuff. But what if you're not there? What if you're still feminine and you can't control that? You're not at the end picture yet of ultimate masculinity. You haven't arrived. That is a goal in and of itself, right? So what's the journey towards that goal? Please tell me. Okay. Doing what needs to get done whether you feel like it or not. Okay, so let's divide it up. What is an environment? What is it that determines an environment? And I've divided it up in, let's see, 2 different ways. One is pleasure and pain. Okay? To gain pleasure or to avoid pain. Let's talk about these ones and then I'll go on to the next. If you think about it, if you're feminine, then pleasure and pain has to do with an emotion, right? Which means that if you can't control your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and then you're presented with pleasure and pain, then it depends now upon what is most intense. What is it that's most intense? Because femininity goes towards the thing that screams the loudest, okay? So if you have intense emotions in terms of avoiding pain, then you're going to avoid pain, okay? Because it screams intensely in terms of your emotions. That's going to govern your behavior. So if you're extremely fearful about talking to this stranger, as an example, then that's what screams the loudest. And you're probably going to shy away from talking to this stranger to close that sales call or whatever it is. See, that's the problem. It stands in the way of your success, doesn't it? Do what you need to get done despite how you feel. Well, if your emotions are extremely strong towards avoidance of pain, you're going to have an issue. You're not going to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. But it also goes in the aspect of pleasure. Because if you have intense emotions about watching porn, or drinking alcohol, or smoking cigarettes, or being up late when you know that you're supposed to wake up early the next day, what are you doing? Well, your pleasure-seeking aspects are screaming intensely that you need to do this right now. Okay, so if you're feminine, you're not going to be able to control that, which means that you're going to follow that intense screaming, so to speak. And you're going to do the thing that screams the loudest. Okay, what's happening? You're being governed and you're following your environment. You're following your emotions. It's leading you somewhere. And if you are feminine, then it's going to be focused on immediate things, immediate gratification, which goes completely against the long-term aspects of achieving your goals, right? You probably have big goals, huge, big, hairy, audacious goals. Well, guess what? They're most probably, if they're huge, they're going to be very focused on delayed gratification, right? That's what's going to surround it, right? Because you can't achieve huge, massive, long-term goals with immediate gratification. It just completely goes against each other. It's just immediate gratification, the opposite direction of your dreams and goals. Trust me. People follow immediate gratification in order for them to be happy. That doesn't work, right? You have to use delayed gratification for you to get that exponential growth in happiness and joy and getting your goals. So you understand now the pleasure and pain aspects of it. It's feelings dependent. Okay, so if you can't control your feelings, your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, you're going to follow that path of pain, pleasure, what's screaming to me the loudest at this moment in time. Okay, the next aspect is your environment in terms of an accountability partner or peer pressure. This is a very powerful environmental aspect, okay? And that can affect the pain and pleasure aspect too. You know, oh, if I reject this person, that's going to be painful. Oh, this person, I really want to sleep with that person. That's seeking pleasure, right? Etc. It's your environment. Your accountability partners could be, for example, a boss, right? The pain of being fired, right? So your boss, because you have to show up to work, you gotta do what needs to get done, and you can't reject that person because you might get fired, right? So that's an accountability partner. It's an environmental thing. If you're feminine, that's a good thing in terms of keeping that job, right? And this is one of the reasons why I talk about the 80-hour work week so much. Of actually applying the 80-hour work week will help you to get rid of addictions, will help you to practice SR, will help you to get rid of prawn. Why? Because you're in an environment that's not conducive to watching prawn. It's not conducive to actually, relapse, which is fantastic. And you want to do that 80 hours a week. Okay? So it's an accountability partner. It's an environment that you've created and put in place so that things run automatically in your life for a period of time until you've learned how to control yourself, right? An accountability partner could be just that. It could be a partner. It could be a colleague. It could be a personal assistant. I mean, most of us don't have that, and it could be girlfriends or friends. What is your environment? And where are they leading you? Are they leading you faster towards your dreams and goals, or are they leading you away? Because they're taking you one direction no matter what. You've got to know, are these people taking me towards my dreams and goals? And if not, I've got to reevaluate how much time I spent with them. If you're married or if you have kids, it's a different story. Okay? And this is one of the reasons why I say do not get married at this point in time on the beginning of your journey. Okay? Which is another story for another time. But this is an environment. You want to change your life, you want to change your environment because you're feminine. We have to change your environment to get to your dreams and goals. You can be masculine about changing your environment because that's something you can do in the presence right now. But to stick to something long term while your environment is telling you to do something else, it's almost impossible. So we got to fix this. We got to fix the environment. You'll fix your life. You'll get your goals. Another aspect is habitual thinking, okay? What I mean by that is basically once you have a habit, then you do things without thinking. And if you're doing things without thinking, you're probably not going to be very emotional about it. Okay? It's just something that you do. The boring and mundane thing every single day, every single day, every single day. That's an environment. Your brain is working on automatic, just doing the thing that needs to get done. Amazing. If you're feminine, habit is your friend. Because that's just what you do all of the time. Okay? Gotta love that. Problem with that, though, is that you have to be masculine for a period of time in order for you to be able to relax back on your habits. So that one's not really relevant for you yet. Unless you're managing to discipline yourself you just need 4 weeks very often. 90 days would be fantastic. But if you can do 30 days, you'll get the habit. And that habit will take you to the land of your dreams if you just keep doing it and you do it without thinking. Okay? Very important one. And then the last one here, that also depends on some masculinity for a time, is momentum. Once momentum comes, which usually comes after 6 months of pursuing a goal, momentum will eventually arrive where things begin to happen all on their own. It's like you've done the wheel, okay, for a long period of time by yourself. It was really heavy to push, But then eventually it just goes on its own and creates momentum. I got a client, for example, who's been continuously reaching out and doing the things that I'm asking him to do in terms of getting clients, okay? And eventually, after a long period of time of doing that consistently, all of the time, every single day, boring habit, blah, 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 suddenly, he's beginning now to get calls. All on their own. People are beginning to come to him. And there's momentum. And if he's feminine, or if you're feminine, that's what you want. Because that means that things are happening to you, which causes you to naturally gravitate towards your dreams and goals. See what I'm saying here? Okay. That's what you need to focus on in terms of changing your environment. Watch this video again and understand these things. Take notes. What is it that you need to change in your environment for your femininity to be okay? That there's some femininity left in you. You don't have to become masculine overnight. You can be okay that you're feminine on your journey as long as you put in place the necessary aspects of your environment so that things automatically drive you towards your goals. And you're going to suck at it. And that's okay. You got to be patient with yourself. The strategy and the plan that you have in the short term is going to suck. It's going to fail. But that's why you execute with this environmental things that I mentioned so that you can make a better plan, a better strategy, right? Accountability could also be a coach, by the way. So the ones that I mentioned was basically pleasure and pain, which is feelings dependent. You can't really do anything about that one because that depends on masculinity. You see that? Like, because you have to have delayed gratification in order for you to get to your end destination. So you can't rely on pleasure and pain to do what needs to get done if you're still feminine. So really, and it's the same thing with habit without thinking and momentum. You can't rely on that to get you to your end destination. The only thing you have is accountability. Really. If you're massively feminine, the only thing you have is following the lead of someone else. Someone who either has what you want or who's able to keep you accountable on your journey towards success. And then you actually following them and not rebelling. It's not time for you to masculinely rebel against those that are leading you towards your dreams and goals. You gotta remain in your femininity somewhat until you're ready to actually, lead yourself, which is the second phase of leadership, right? So, how can we now move on to the next step? If we understand that that's where it starts with accountability and allowing yourself to be led, but by the right people, not by your girlfriend, not by your friends, if they are not going in the same direction as you, and not by your parents, but people that I just mentioned. Okay. Eventually, you'll get to the point, especially if you practice SR, especially if you're following the right people and you have accountability around you and you're spending time with people that are that's boosting your self-image, that's boosting your ability to do and to have faith in yourself, etc. Over time, you're going to develop masculinity because you're going to do the things that you don't want to do. And you're going to stop doing the things that you do not want to do. You're going to go against emotion. You're going to go against feelings. You're going to eventually be able to control your thoughts, control your emotions, and control your behavior. And you'll move towards masculinity. That's what I want for all of you guys. That's how you're going to get your dreams and goals. That's how you're going to get the best possible strategy and plan to achieve anything in life that you desire. You'll execute. And the more you execute, the more you fail. And the more you fail, the more you gain experience, which will eventually give you good judgment, which eventually will create massive amounts of success for you. The more masculine you are, the more you get what it is that you want. I'm fired up for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And someone who says, I relapsed. And then someone says, bro, don't say that. Work on it. You guys are absolutely awesome. You can do this. And I'll see you in the next one.